it's Moobit here from Gaming.co.uk and Moobit Media, here with another Transformers Prime toy review. Yet again another Cyberverse thing, because I've just fallen in love with these guys. I know a lot of you guys out there don't like these because of the simplistic nature, but I think the robots are good representations and are great if you've just got a limited shelf space when you know, a grown man with kids, etc. Yeah, I'm one of those. But here's a weird one. I knew this was coming, but I couldn't quite believe it. Well, I could believe it. It makes sense. But as you can see, this is the Transformers Prime Soundwave Intelligence Specialist. But notice from the robot mode, without getting him out, what's wrong with this picture? Yeah, I'll leave you to ponder on that while I show you the box. It's a Legion class, so it's one of the cheaper ones. Easy transformation. They all transform pretty much the same way, the vehicle versions of the Cyberverse figures. Within a Decepticon Alliance, he has got his his buddies down there, including the Transformers Prime Soundwave there, who doesn't look like the Prime Soundwave there. Have you guessed what it is yet? Bet you have already. Cyberverse, come on Joe World, Cyberverse, Soundwave, Intelligence Specialist, lovely little Decepticon logo, Hasbro logo, 207 on the side, Transformers Prime, Transformers.com, Facebook, YouTube, etc. And on this side, not a lot. There's usually a bio in the US. In the UK we don't get one. Legal Goblins on the back. And here is the big reveal of what's wrong with this thing. Soundwave Intelligence Specialist. He's a car? What? He's not a car in Transformers Prime. Obviously you probably worked it out by now, by his robot mode, his little blue circles. This is based off the Bayformers, because I won't call it Transformers, the Bayformers Dark of the Moon Soundwave. When he was a merc, for some reason, he turned from a satellite to a merc, and that's the movie version robot mode. Legal Goblins on the bottom. If you're 0 to 3, you're a sad on your face, you can't play with this. So, rather than giving us the spy plane UAV model like it is in Transformers Prime and like the main toy is, we've got basically in this country at least, it was unreleased Cyberverse Dark of the Moon figure, but in a Transformers Prime package. I don't know why they did that, because they're still releasing new Dark of the Moon Cyberverse figures in this country even now. So why they can't just put it in a Dark of the Moon packaging, I don't know. But, I'll give it a chance. It's Soundwave, he's my favourite character in the Transformers Dum. So, I had to pick him up. Let's get him open and see, although he's not a Prime, see if he's actually worth having in your collection. And right off the bat, the answer is a resounding no, it isn't. It's okay, but not at the same time. Frankly, it's pretty pants. To be fair, vehicle mode looks okay. We'll get a close-up of this for you. It's alright, it's better than the mould that we got in the Dark of the Moon Human Alliance, because the paint job on that was really drab and boring and horrible. This at least is got a bit nicer of a colour to it. You've got some silver highlights there, some moulded in highlights for the grille. Pretty crappy wheels, to be honest. Nice Mercedes logo on the front now. Silver headlights, and then the silver all the way around for the windscreens, and the same on that side. And then you've got Vagina Face Soundwave underneath with his little, I don't know what they're supposed to be, little sonic boom things, satellite dish collecting information thing. I don't know. I just don't know. But there is in car mode. I think it's Mercedes SLK if I remember rightly. We'll stick him next to a Transformers Prime figure, but you can see the moulds just don't work together. There is next to another Legion class. This is the Viacon, as you can see there. And just from the stylized cartoony version of Prime versus the real life car, it just doesn't fit, really. You know, as I say, this should have been released as a Dark of the Moon Cyberverse, to be fair, and it would have gone down a lot better. There he is next to there. We'll give you Cliff Jumper as a standard size toy, just to give you a size comparison of that. As you can see, as with any Cyberverse, he's a lot smaller than a standard size toy. There you go. And let's go for shits and giggles. We'll give you... There you go. My best Transformers noise. Yeah, don't give it the day job, Moobit. There he is next to our old friend, the Micromaster Transformer from G1. You know, he is what he is. The purple's nicer on there. Bit of red headlights, I didn't notice that. But, you know, there he is. So, to transform him. Pretty self-explanatory, really. You untap the arms, as with any of these Cyberverse style figures from any of the range. With any car former, they are what they are. So you untap the arms like so. This hood part comes down like that, forming a bit of a collar and a very large backpack. There's one thing I didn't mention actually, is his weapon. I do apologise. As you probably noticed, I'll put him off to one side a minute. The weapon you get packaged with it is a reissue of the Viacon weapon from Transformers Prime. There it is. So you've got a blade on one side and you've got the triangular cannon on the other, which is exactly the same as the Viacon weapon just there. The problem is, on the Dark of the Moon moulds, the weapon hole up here is too small to actually fit the weapon in. So that's an epic fail as well. As you can see there, it ain't going in. That is far too small to actually display the weapon on the vehicle. So epic fail there. Anyway, you've seen he's got his arms out. I'm trying to do this just to save your suffering, really. His arms out, and then this is the bit that is pretty horrible, is the legs. The legs are loose, as you can see here. The back end here flips out to create the fetums, like so. But then you have to twist up here, you have to twist this 180 degrees so they're facing forward. The problem with that is, with them being very weak ball joints, just the way it is with being a cheap toy, they do not want to move. They're very stiff anyway. This here, the swivelly bit here, is very stiff. With the part of the ball socket here being quite flimsy plastic, it's going to shear off at any minute, but I'll give it a go on camera. If not, I might have to move it off camera. But as you can see there, it's very, very tricky. Yeah, look, legs have come off already. And look, it's bent the thing already there. But you get the general idea. You just have to turn it and turn it and turn it. There we go, I've got one in. Whee! So there's one. See if we can do the same on the other. So you just kind of wiggle it round without breaking it, and it doesn't want to do it. There we are. Huzzah! And he ends up with the Michael Bay chicken feet that we know and hate. Yeah, I didn't like them. The movies are okay, but they weren't Transformers films. They were just action films with messy looking robots in them. But there he is in his robot mode that I am trying to count. Because of the chicken feet, I'm trying to counterbalance so he stands up. And there he is. So, for articulation, well, there isn't any. I'll put the weapon on, which is a Prime weapon. You can hold it, although the ports for the weapons for everywhere else are, again, as I say, too small. There's literally hardly any articulation on this whatsoever. Head is moulded in, which, fair enough, all the Cyberverse toys are about the same. You have got quite a restricted, because of the way the ball joint is just there, if I can get it in focus, and the pole that it's on is very, very floppy and flimsy, so you get a little bit of motion there, you get a little bit of in and out. That's it. If I get his arm up, no knees, there's hip articulation there, but the whole leg is one solid piece. So even with the hip articulation, you ain't going to get really any poses with him. Apart from maybe that, which is not really anything, really. Yeah. It's a shame. It's a shame. He looked good in the package, but as we're finding out here, he ain't good out of the package. You can't even get him to stand up because of his strange chicken legs. That's his articulation. That's about it. That's how he's standing on his shelf if you get him. Size comparisons. I guess start with the Movieverse. I've got a Movieverse figure knocking about. This is admittedly a Commander class movie line Cyberverse. This is a Blackout, I believe they called him in the film, which in the first film at least was the equivalent of Soundwave. He wasn't around at the time. And this guy went in and raided the airbase, if you'll remember. And as you can see, he ties, the coloration does tie in a lot better. The difference between him and him is he's got a hell of a lot more articulation, fully posable, very good, and he came with a little Scorponok, which is always a bonus, which turns into a gun by doing that, and he's got a gun which he holds on a post just down there. A lot more playability. That's just a lump of plastic that you can't really do anything with. So when you compare him with one of the Prime toys, such as, well, here's the equivalent, here's a Viacon, it doesn't fit in. All the Prime toy Legion class ones are all the same height. As you can tell, this one is a bit bigger. Now this is actually a good example of what the guys were saying, well, all over YouTube, in the fact that they use less plastic now, and as evidenced, really. Both of these were the same price in the shops, but because that's a movie line mould, you can see a lot more plastic has been used, although this has got a lot more playability with the posability, etc. So, you know, you've got that. Here he is next to, let's give him Megatron. We'll put him off to one side a moment. There he is next to Cyberverse Prime Commander class Megatron. Hell of a lot bigger, as you can see there. But you know what? He although he doesn't fit because he's not the real Soundwave, he scales in okay. So there he is with Megatron. Starscream is just huge. That's Prime Starscream. And I don't know, shits and giggles before I go on to my other point. There he is next to the Reveal the Shield Cyberverse G1 Starscream. Released, I think about that mould would have intentionally been released at a time of the film. That was released just before the third film, so you can see they're about the same height. Point proven. There's Starscream, and here he is next to what he should look like. Soundwave from the Movieverse. Hell of a lot taller, as you can see. I'm going to put Soundwave back a bit just so you can see him in the same kind of context. Right there. Let's get a shot of them both together. Now you see, that is how Soundwave should look. And what I don't get is he, to be fair, out of all the Cyberverse, would be very, very easy to make. I'm hoping they are going to go for a mould. If you take the Starscream mould from here, he is basically a miniaturised version of the full toy. He transforms in a very similar way, and yet he looks like he does in the show. He would be easy. You just get the legs down here, simplify it a bit, just stick them together as one. The feet can be the beak just folded up forwards. That would be the feet, and the arms just literally just go out in a T. So in a T thing, and then you just need to hide the head in the same way as this Viacon mould would be hidden. This whole section comes back, and then the head flips around to the back and is hidden. If you do the head same as there, and then the arms are just on T's, and so his head's there, and then put them together, you'd make a very, very good Cyberverse mould of this guy. But, you know, as he is, he doesn't fit in with Transformers Prime. He doesn't really fit in with the Movieverse because they're a bit out of kilter, and then you've got much better versions of the Movieverse back here, which fit in quite well. He just doesn't have a place. He's pretty pish poor. He's got no articulation. He's got no redeeming features. He's just not very good. Here are shits and giggles. Even next to G1 Micromaster, he whoops his ass as well. So, would I recommend him? Would I, L? He's the first one out of the Primes which I've truly disliked. He's an okay representation of the Movieverse one, but even for the Movieverse, he could have been articulated better. He could have at least had bendable knees, just something to give him some playability. As he is, a void, just like the rest of the movie line. And that's depressed me, so I'm not going to go through with my usual channel gubbins. You can find all the information down here. Run a lot of channels, check that out. I've got a podcast that I run for GamerDads.co.uk, check that out. And until next time, we're coming back next with Breakdown Cyberverse, who looks a hell of a lot better. So hopefully he'll cheer me up a bit. And I'll see you in the next review. Bye bye.
I like to move it, bit, 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 bit.